All right, welcome to BCI Basketball Club's Courtside Live. I'm your host, Adrian Branch. BCI is a real-time online interactive public event that connects professional basketball players to fans and sports youth around the world. This event features unprecedented access to players about the practical and spiritual aspects of life in the pros. We're happy to host BCI Courtside Live via YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Instagram using Blue Jeans on social. Tonight we have an esteemed panel, and I'm excited for you guys to hear about them. First, I'll start with Wes Fluellen, who played 12 years of pro ball with the NBA, one with Orlando, played in Europe, and also in South America. And then he went to college as a student athlete, has an amazing story that you're going to hear about, where he was on the dean's list and a graduate with business science degree, and then also the founder of Fundamental First Basketball Academy, which helps now currently over 365, that's right, in 11 years, 365 youth with a scholarship or partial scholarship to a prep school or a university. Then we also have the Big Mac, and we're not talking about cheese, mac and cheese, but we're talking about Gary McDaniel in his third year Colonial High School. Coach, a legend, Florida State 7A Final Four high school last year, has over 500 wins, 10 conference titles. This is what I'm impressed about. 9-time Coach of the Year, and also was the head coach and athletic director at Cincinnati State. And then he has one of his many talented players, young Ray Baker. I love his smile. Ray, give me that smile. Smile goes a million miles, young man. Yeah, there you go. Young Ray Baker, who's also a senior and also wants to major in criminology. And I said before the air, if you major in criminology, you ain't never going to go out of business. There's plenty of criminals all the way from suits to zoot suits. So, fellas, welcome to Courtside Live. You're going to enjoy this time. It's going to be a wonderful thing. Let me start with you, Wes. I'm going to take a page right now. It's basketball season. So for myself, privileged to go into, I believe, my 18th year with ESPN, and it says, be curious. Talk about your favorite teams, Maryland, Duke, UCLA, Kansas, like you'd never heard of them before. So with you being a leader of young men, and like you said, as of today, 365 young people have been impacted by your Fundamentals First program. What keeps you curious? How do you stay relatable to today's young people?
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, being relatable means just constantly being around them, meeting them where they are, finding out their best interests, and then and having a way to cultivate them in that, and that makes you always make you relevant when you're dealing with young people. And we obviously have that same thing in common, which is basketball. And young people, young men and young women are looking for opportunities to excel and accomplish their goals. And those who are willing, like this young man Ray, it's a blessing just to have him on here, because out of all the people, you're the one who's on here is going to get all of this knowledge that's going to help cultivate you to become great. And it could have been a lot of people on here, but you're on here, and that says a lot about you, and coaches love to see that.
Oh, wow.
That goes a long way.
Got it.
You're here, you're on time, you're present, you're paying attention. That goes a long way.
The
It's
little
no different than a college coach who's watching you play in a game. He's not looking at how many points you score. He's looking at how you cheer your teammates. Do you sit up on the bench? Do you help your teammate off the floor? Did you dive for that loose ball even though you couldn't get it? Did you communicate on defense? Like all the little simple things, because everybody can score. Everybody can shoot. Everybody can rebound, handle the ball. It's all the little things that are so important. And these are the things, Adrian, that I'm talking about, that these kids are being cultivated with, that allows them to want to be motivated to be around me. And so,
wow.
or like Coach Mack, being individuals who are put in place to help cultivate these young men to become the best versions of themselves, and young ladies as well.
I like that. Coach, jump on that one. There's a saying, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. It's not about the X's and the O's and the Jimmys and the Joes. Jump on that point. What keeps you trying to be cutting edge, trying to be on top, just what Coach West just said? What keeps you interested in this game and young people?
Well, you said it in the last two words, young people. I too enjoy working with young people. I enjoy this age group. I didn't know that I would as much after coaching college for so long, but I feel like I could make an impact. And I kind of feel like I've been called to this for this particular time in my life, and to give something back, to try to give them an experience with my experiences that maybe they wouldn't get from some of the coaches that would be in this position uh, coaching them as well. Maybe not, but at the same time, having the opportunity to make an impact, hopefully help make their dreams come true, and make some people smile and achieve things that they set forth, or maybe it was a dream. To make someone's dream come true, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, going to college, becoming a better person, not becoming a sad story, that means everything to me, and that keeps me right here, and that's
I
why I'm
like
here.
that one. I like that one. I'm actually writing, taking notes as you guys are talking. So if you have my head down, like Wes says, little things, and Coach Max saying caring, people caring. All right, Ray. I talked about that smile. And that smile goes a million miles, baby, showing that moneymaker. I'm telling you. Coach was said, making her smile. What is something, and a buzzword nowadays is mindset, mindset, mindset. Coach Prime in Colorado, who's must see TV, has just taken the world by storm, and he talks about a mindset. Let us ask like we've never been 16, 17, 18, and a senior in high school. What's your mindset playing in a legendary program, having a successful year? What is the self talk? What is it going into your senior year? What's your mindset approaching November 1st and November 15th, you guys opening games?
My mindset is like, to be honest, just to kill, like to do anything that I can to actually like win games in total. Because last year, like last year was like my first year ever at Colonial, right? And and I basically just wanted to kill. Like that's basically what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on this team because that I heard that Coach Mack, he was here, and I also heard that we had new players coming here that I already knew. So that was my mindset ever since I got into Colonial, and then that's gonna be my mindset after I leave Colonial.
Wow. Well, all right, Coach Mack. I thought he might say, man, go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, one of my favorites when I was in high school. He said, man, I just want to straight kill. It's like, God dang,
He
I
he
need to
he
turn
he
my head
learned he
around.
knows our huddle language, and I guess it's out the huddle now. So locker room huddle, yeah, we talk about just that, the kill. Have that
Wow.
killer. You're out there to kill. You're out there to dominate. That's we talk about those kind of things,
Hey,
and
Wes,
that's what I
I need to raise my suburban cred, man. I need to raise my suburban cred over here. We got mobbed when we talk. All right, whew, Lord have mercy. So, Coach, say the same thing twice. Who is Young Ray? Brag on Young Ray. Who is Young Ray that we're talking about?
young. He's that $1 million smile you talked about first and
Hmm.
foremost.
That's your moneymaker.
Uh,
So ESPN will be looking for you with that smile.
he's both probably the most picked on by the team and the most liked.
Oh,
So he gets a lot of attention. Sometimes through our chat, I kind of noticed that everything is coming right at Ray, and Ray is he's got a strong chest and strong shoulders, and he just lets it bounce off of him and get very little back because he's that kind of teammate. He'll take it and smile because he knows it's all in fun. He knows they love him, but at the same time, when he gets on the court, whether he's scoring or not, as you were speaking about scoring and rebounding and putting the ball on the floor, he's just trying to find a way to contribute, and he pretty much will do whatever I ask him to do.
Wes, let me ask you this. So you were successful. Tell us that story. It's a fascinating story where the teacher, first of all, I like how you answer, what? The teacher said, hey, Wes, come here. You're like, what? And you basically had the knucklehead sauce on. You didn't want to do anything but play. Finish that story. Tell us that story when you were in the eighth, ninth grade and how that helped turn you around and set your compass pointed north.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, the first time I picked up a ball was in the 8th grade, and that was as a result of my biological father getting out of prison and wanted to know his son, and I wanted nothing to do with him. And I grew up in foster care, so you can only imagine, how much anger and things I had as a child, and as a teenager. You know, me against the world mentality. I don't have a family, nothing to identify with. And when I touched that ball in the 8th grade, after he died, actually, his death was the reason why I ended up playing in the first place. So I really wanted a relationship with him, but I could never get that back. He died, and my only way I felt I could repay him was to pick up a basketball, something that I hated. I never played sports. I didn't like sports, and I picked it up, and lo and behold, discovered that I had a gift that God had hid inside me the whole time. It was just waiting to come out. And so picking up where we left off, I was a straight F student, and I finally found something that loved me. It was that ball, and I was determined to love it back with all my heart. And when I got to 9th grade, my English teacher wanted the class to go home and write a paper on this book we were reading. And as class was ending, she just noticed my body language and knew, like, yeah, I just really wasn't on it. And as I'm walking out, she called me, it's like, hey, Mr. Fluellen. And I'm like, what? And she's like, come here, and I go over to her, like, what's up? She's like, yeah, by your demeanor, it looked like you don't want to write this paper. And I'm like, no, because I'm not here to write papers. She said, well, what are you here to do then? And I said, I'm here to play basketball. She laughed, And so at that moment, her name is Miss Kernan. She passed away 5 years ago. At that moment, Miss Kernan could have done anything. She could have been like, stupid little boy, get out of here. You ain't gonna be nothing. She could have done anything, right? But instead of doing all of those things, she challenged me. So she says, Wesley, all right, you ain't got to write the paper. I'm like, word, cool, So she's like, no, you don't understand. So everybody else is gonna go home and write the paper on the book we reading, but I'm gonna give you an opportunity to write on anything you want. Anything.
Wow.
I don't care what it is.
Love it.
But you gotta promise me that you'll do your best. And the reason why that struck me so hard, because I before my father died, I promised him that I would change my life because I was in the streets. And he died the very next day. So when she said promise me, I immediately thought, like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to right my wrong, And so I went home. I locked myself in the bedroom. My foster parents was like, hey, what you doing? I locked myself in there for a long time, and I began to start writing, Ray. I just started writing. And the more I wrote, I started crying. Like this big old tough dude, just crying, right? And what I was writing about my life, like all the things I dealt with in foster care and the things that I had bottled inside. I just started letting out. And I ended up turning that paper into the Miss Kernan, and I waited for about a week when she passed out the papers back, and I had a B+ on the paper. So I'm confused, right? I'm really confused, Ray. Like I've never seen a good grade ever before in my life, And so you would think, Ray, that I would be like happy about that. Like, whoa, man, I got a B. What? Y'all should look at this. What? Instead of that, I went and blew down on the teacher. Like, yo, Miss Kernan, man, you think I'm stupid? You trying to play me?
Whoa.
You trying to play me? Like, doggone well I ain't get a B+. Like, you trying to embarrass me in front of my people?
Wow.
And she laughed again, and she said, Wesley, actually, you earned that B+. And if you'd have just had you fixed a few grammar things, put a period here, a comma here, capitalize this word right here, you would have actually had an A, Wesley. And I walked out of that class, Ray, so confused, like, a B+. I earned that. And then I went to practice, Ray. And I, as you would say, I killed. My goal was to kill everybody so that everybody's level can come high, right? So I'm in practice and I'm killing. And the coach is like, all right, now give me a suicide. Everybody, 25 seconds. My teammates like, man. And I get on the baseline like, yeah, what? We got this. What you talking about? We all about to make this. Watch, coach. Make it. Now we going through all this stuff in practice, Ray, after Miss Kernan gave me this B+. And I'm walking home because I had to catch 2 buses to get home from the school. And I started to realize, Ray, that, man, my coach say shoot 50 shots. I shoot 200. He say He say make it in 25. I try to make it in 23.
Wow.
He say shut this guy down to at least 10 points tonight. I'm trying to shut him down to nothing. Right? But I'm doing all this for my coach Mac. I'm doing this all for my coach. But then this Curry asked me to write a paper, and I say, I ain't doing that. So I started to realize, like, man, what part of the game is that, Wes? Like, I didn't realize that in the classroom, you got a teacher. On the basketball court, you got a coach.
Mm-hmm.
In the classroom, she give me homework, right?
Mm-hmm.
When after school, I go to practice. The coach gives us practice, which is basically homework, right? And after all of that homework, I got to take a test. After all that practicing, then the fans come in, the refs show up, the band playing, and it's game time. It's a test. And I'm like, if I can do this in basketball, why the heck can I do this in the classroom? I'm competitive.
Wow.
I don't like to lose. So then, right then and there, Ray, that's when it all changed. When I showed up in all my classes, I showed up like the Nike All-American I was. I showed up like, yeah, coach, yeah, teacher, you think you got me on this math? Huh? You think geometry gonna stop me? Let's go.
Wow.
Oh, you want me to read 3 chapters? Nothing. Let's do it.
Wow.
Dang, man, I got a B. Hey, excuse me, Miss Parisi. Hey, I noticed I got a B in it on this test. Like, what did I do wrong? I need to get an A. What did I do wrong? I went from a straight F student to honor roll, merit roll. Just like that.
14, Ray? Wes, how old were you on that one? How old were you when that turned around?
So 15.
15. Let me ask right there, because wow, that's gunpowder. And thank you, brother. Thank you for that story. Somebody out there is going to hear that. And you went from the horse nobody bet on to now being a leader of men and young men. Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. Let me ask you guys this one. Let's do a little speed round. So this is one word. I'm gonna say one word, and you give me. I'm gonna say a word, and you give me one bullet answer. Just one word that comes to mind. Coach Mac, let's start with you. Then I'm gonna go with Ray, and then I'm gonna go with Wes. So it's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you were just talking, I just wrote down 6 words. So this will be like a little speed round. What comes to mind when you say this? Give me the first word that comes to mind, Coach. We'll go around. Here we go. You ready? Coach Mac, success.
Hard work.
Ray, success.
I really don't, like, to be honest, like, my mind's blank right now.
Okay.
Coach Mac took my answer.
All right. I'm going to come back to you. Wes, success. One word.
Discipline.
Discipline. I love that one. All right. Here's another one. We'll start with you, Ray. Failure. What comes to mind? Failure.
No work.
That word. Coach Mac, failure.
No.
No.
No failure.
Wow. I love that one. Wes, failure.
Knowledge.
I like that one. All right. Here's a big word. Coach Mac, imagination.
Every day.
Wow.
Spend a lot of time doing it every day.
Wow. Ray, creativity. Imagination, creativity.
Anything.
Wow. Wes, imagination.
Victory.
Wow, I like that one. All right, 2 more. Here we go. Coach, balance. You can use it in any context. Balance. Balance is a shot. Balance is a person. Balance.
Life. I'm always trying to work to be in balance, and it's one of my areas of difficulty.
Wow. Thank you. We're going to come back to that. Wes, balance. Needed as a jump shooter, but as a person, balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I say this every day. And Coach Mac, I got the same answer. Keep your life balanced.
I like that one.
You like
all right. Ray, balance. Give me balance. What comes to mind?
More.
Wow. All right. Last word here on our speed round. Starting with you, Ray. Diversity.
Diversity?
Diversity, like diverse, different fish, different birds, different foods. Diversity.
Special.
Wow, I like that one. Coach Mack, diversity.
God's plan.
Like that one. Wes, variety, diversity.
Options.
Got it. Options. All right, let's double down on that one. Let me say imagination. Coach, you said imagination. What take us in there? What you were saying with that? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I visualize things in my mind. I see it before it happens. And once I see it, it helps me to set goals and go for it. I learned to meditate in the last however many years, and I enjoy meditating. And imagination plays a part in that. And but the wonderful thing about imagination to me is you can create something in your imagination that you want because you have every obstacle. I mean, you have every opportunity to do it at whatever level you want to do it. And it's a fun thing for me to escape into my imaginary world where I'm always happy. I'm always happy there. I just don't get enough time to do it.
Wow.
And yeah. So that's the way I see it, and that's the way I try. I try to have more time for it. I wish I did.
Wes, I love to ask in your imagination where you saw yourself as the horse nobody bet on to where you were going to make yourself a success. How do you balance that out where your greatest strength now is junkyard dog, go kill him? How do you keep that greatest strength from being a weakness overused?
Well, well, even with basketball and even today, it's the fact that I know that what I have is not from me. That's what keeps me balanced. My gift is not mine; it's God's. And I'm using it for His glory, and I always was. So that's what always brings me back to humility is understanding that no matter how many accolades you get, how many checks you sign, how many whatever, is
Mhm.
that it's not mine. It's because God allows it, and that continues to keep me humble with the success that is obtained.
Love to hear that. Ray, you were rolling in there and a chip off the old block because you're reflecting your coach and your program. You said, man, I just want to kill. And that means like you just want to dominate the right way. So how do you as a young person keep yourself balanced where you still have to be a son, a student, a citizen of the university, a citizen of the universe, not being weird or spooky. But I was a knucklehead in high school. My history teacher said, son, you're not a citizen of the universe because you won't vote for a school president. So how do you keep yourself in balance with a killer mentality? How do you appropriate it for different areas of your life?
Well, it doesn't like it's like it basically goes on in life too, just because in in like every aspect I want to dominate. Just like at my job, I want to do the best. I want to be the best at my job. And just like in basketball, I want to be the best that I can be. And same thing same thing as me being a son. I want to be like the best that I can be to my mom who is a single mother.
Mm, got that. I want to ask you guys, how do you, and it's not, I promise you, it's not a weird or spooky statement. It's totally incurious. How do you turn yourself off? So, Wes, how do you turn off the leadership, the junkyard dog? How do you turn yourself off to where you can replenish the virtue? In fact, we'll talk about Christ and what he did. He got away with his disciples to replenish the virtue. But how do you turn yourself off from your 365 successes to replenish the virtue?
Oh man, that's a packed question, because I don't necessarily think I ever turned it off per se, because like everything that God is allowing me to do is service. You understand? So
Hmm.
everything that I'm doing is service, whether I'm in Africa helping a kid or motivational speaking at a school or university or whatever it is, it's always service. So God takes a lot of things and brings to remembrance that the focus has to be off yourself, and we're not perfect. I mean, the only person I know that's perfect is Jesus. But for the
Hmm.
most part, you're always uh, service, you're giving away the gifts that you have because the gifts were never meant for us anyway. They're meant to be given away, right? So who knows, Coach Mack and all the tutelage and cultivating that he's giving you, Ray, will turn out to one day you may become another version of him, you know, in your own way, in the way God created you. And that's the whole light of the energy and the gifts and the talents that we have. Is to always give them away. And as long as you are in that space, you'll always have a somewhat of a smooth balance, a creative balance, you know.
Got that. Coach, you just said you like to meditate. So you like to turn off the five physical senses or so. Tell us about how you restore the virtue.
Well, because I too am a single father, and I play different roles in different people's lives. It's important for me to switch gears and switch roles, though it's difficult at times because I'm almost always Coach Mack. If I look at my phone, I'll quickly become it because my phone always is always telling me that I'm Coach Mack. Someone's trying to contact me, typically for basketball reasons or family reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little hard to do for me at times. However, I understand the importance of it. It's that balance thing that I've been working on for some time. That's very difficult for me to really find a good balance. I used to tell people I work hard and I play hard.
Mm-hmm.
I do, but I don't have the balance of work hard, play hard that I would like. And one of the problems with that is once I see something that I really want, sometimes, as we all know, it takes you giving your all. And some people know what their all is, and some people don't know what their all is. I have a good grasp of what my all is. And when I give my all, sometimes it's not a whole lot left to give.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful to say this last part, much like you, Wesley. Everything I do it for the Lord. Ray and my players to know how I run my team are rules that I put forth. I mean it. The first rule on our team rules is no profanity. I tell them I'll give you the wisdom.
Damn. No profanity?
No
Damn.
profanity. I'll give you the
What is
wisdom.
that?
I'll run for you. If I say one word, one. I'm a blood wires believer myself. I'm a PK. I've been with the Lord for a long time. I've been walking with Him. I won't kid you, Wesley. I'm enjoying listening to you. I'm hearing your test. I'm hearing your testimony. Yeah, you're doing a great job. You're encouraging me. Just listening to you, and I'm sure you're encouraging Ray and others you speak to. So keep talking because people will listen. I certainly am. But it's difficult for me to do at times. But it's something that I do on a regular basis. Just sustaining it sometimes is a hard thing for me.
Let me ask you this, Ray. Uh, Even biblically, and I'm getting ready to talk about the Bible and God and one of my best friends and how it's made a difference in my life. But even the Bible says a young man is strong, an old man has wisdom. So how do you try to balance yourself when there's so many vices, there's so many voices? They say our cell phones nowadays has more information on it than what they went to the moon. This one thing in 1969, the first time they went to the moon, there's more information on our cell phones than what NASA had when they put the first astronauts on the moon. So how do you try to keep your compass pointed north as a young man?
Because I see it as like goals, right? Like basically, I set goals for myself just so that just so that I can actually be able to go on further, and and like everything that I do, I set goals for myself, right? So let's say in basketball, like last year, I asked Coach Mack almost after every single game, what could I do better?
Mm.
And he did tell me, but at the time I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. Let's say after like I think 3 talks to him, I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Wow.
So basically, like me keeping my compass straight is basically like my urge to like beat those goals, or like just beat the odds that I have against myself.
How about that? Wow, that is so powerful. You guys just mentioned something about God and something about Jesus, and that's why we're here. And this Bible here is when I first came to the Lord way back in 1993. I was a 30-year-old professional athlete in my 10th year in Australia. Had an MVP trophy over the great Michael Jordan in the East-West High School All-American game. Played with the LA Lakers, and if this was in Australia, and I was considered the most decorated player to ever play in Australia because of that championship ring with the 87 Lakers. And my teammate, Mike Morrison from the DC area, we're both from DC, said, Adrian, God ain't impressed with your championship ring, bro. Put it down. God's not impressed with that MVP trophy over the great Michael Jordan in the East-West High School All-American game in 81. And God's not impressed that you played with arguably still the top 5 greatest team, along with Bill Russell's 1966 Celtics, Larry Bird's 86 Celtics, Michael Jordan's 95 Chicago Bulls, and Stephen Curry's 2015 Golden State Warriors. It was this right here that made a difference. And guys, as I'm speaking to you today, I'm so proud that what BCI is doing, and Coach Sean Sherman years ago, with the original intent of the game of basketball, which was to encourage young people with the game of basketball, teach them fundamentals like you do, Wes, and like you do, Coach Mack, and then also a message of hope, message of Jesus. So I love to say, man, Wes, what was that turning point for you where that thing went from religion 18 inches to a relationship with Jesus?
Man, well, I mean, yeah, like what I was sharing a little bit earlier, like the enemy had me like trying to destroy me from an early age, and I was in the streets, and there were several times I literally was supposed to be murdered, like, and
Wow. What
God
city?
had great,
What city is this? What township? If you
Cleveland,
okay,
Ohio,
gotcha. Uh-huh.
and God obviously had great plans for me. I was fostered in by loving foster parents. My father, he passed away 9 years ago. My mother's still living. She's 91. And
Wow.
these elderly people took me in, and they just kept talking about the Lord like so much, and I just wasn't trying to hear it, and I recall waking up in the middle of the night, and all the lights were out in the house, and I hear my foster mother in the distance in the dark crying, and she's praying, like, who the
Hmm.
heck is she talking to, and why is she talking
Wow.
to whoever this is about me? And she was in tears and just profusely crying, and save Wesley's life. He's so special. He's so talented. Just show him, save his life, please, Lord. And didn't think nothing of it. But then fast forward, with a friend of mine getting murdered in my arm, like he murdered and died in my arms, and another
Wow.
friend, passing away due to violence and stuff like that. Like, it was like God was constantly trying to pull me to him, like, hey, this is getting ready to be you. If you don't
Oh,
change your life, this is you're getting closer and closer. And but the straw that really broke the camel's back was when my biological father, as I stated earlier, when he got out, prison, and he passed away, that did something to me, and it removed the mask from me. I was being somebody I wasn't called to be, and
mm,
I was slowly but surely starting to realize that, because I began to wise up, like, I don't want to end up in prison somewhere or murdered or, or anything like this. So, and I recall, once like I said, when I picked up that basketball in 8th grade, and I was like, wow, I'm so good at this thing, and then I went to the church service, during that 8th grade year. And, my uncle was the pastor, and he began to talk about, do you know where you will go when you leave here? And he began to say, if you want the best life possible, if you want the best life possible, you want to be the best version of yourself, you
yeah.
you you want who you were created to be, you really want that, I promise you, if you come give your life to the Lord, you will experience the best version of yourself, because you can't lose, and it was something, guys, Ray, like that jumped into me that I can't explain, and I felt like I was floating down the aisle as I was giving my life to the Lord, and the
Wow.
tears coming down my face that I couldn't help, and it wasn't tears of sadness, it was tears of like straight up joy that I can't explain. And I gave my life to the Lord, and from that point, when I gave my life to the Lord, my life hasn't been the same since, for the better, and hence the reason why I have all of these accolades and how, playing professional basketball allows me to draw close to people like Ray, because they
Wow.
want what I had, what I was blessed with,
Love.
and yeah, and God has just been doing great things for me. And that's how I came to the Lord.
Wow, Coach Max, thank you, Wes. That is a person's testimony. They overcome the wicked one by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. So thank you, brother. Thank you for what you're doing. And I wrote down again. I've been taking notes, guys, just learning from you guys as well. No mask, and so I want to say thank you, Coach Mack. You mentioned something yourself, man, where you're a single dad and you got to grind it out yourself. You had success as a coach, but then there's another dimension of yourself. What's your love story? God has a love story sending his son down. What's your love story with God and Jesus, if we can ask?
Well, let me dial it back a little bit too. Growing up in the church and having a father who was a preacher, and being around a lot of great preachers who we know today, such as the Bishop Jakes and some of those people. But before he was Bishop Jakes, the person he is now, he'd come to our church, and I'd be around people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the word was going forth. I was in worship service. We went to church Tuesday, prayer, Bible study, Friday night service, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I was there 4 times a week. I was sick of church to a certain extent. I was like, that's all we do is go to church. It affected my football careers. I also played football. And because I had to go to church, and mom and dad, you can play, but it can't interfere with church. And then came all these catchphrases I come to learn. Only what you do for Christ will be counted in the end.
Yes.
Things like that. And I got saved, ended up getting saved right around the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I made the varsity basketball team as a sophomore, and I'd moved all the way up to 6th man. And in those days, that was unheard of a little bit. And I was averaging about 10 to 12 points, and I was becoming, in my school, in Cincinnati, Ohio, by the way.
Okay.
Ohio brother.
Always 10.
Uh-huh.
Princeton. I was starting to make a name for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And people were hearing about me, and then I was starting to lose because my head was getting a little too big, the opportunities a little too great. I was starting to lose fellowship with God, to be honest with you. And I was walking up the street one day, and an elderly lady that went to our church, a good friend of my parents, she'd sit on the porch, and I'd always speak to her and ask her, do you need anything? So I go to the store for her, whatever she needed. She's just such a sweet lady. But this day, she says, she calls me by name, and she says, come here. Before I could say anything, so I come over, she says, I'm hearing about you, and I'm reading about you. And at the time she was speaking was the time I was starting to lose fellowship and faith with God. And she said, I just want you to remember one thing. It don't matter how good you get in sports. It don't matter how popular you get. The only thing that matters is that you keep God first.
Wow.
Wow. And it resonated with me in a way that it brought a tear down my face, because I felt a little condemnation, and I felt a need to change. And that was my moment that kind of changed things and made me start seeing things in a different light, and really starting to not just pray to God, but to try him and try to keep him at his word. And, that's a good place to be, to keep God at his word, because his word is true.
That's
he will
right.
come every single time. And if people only knew that, if we can just get that message out, that if you're in him, you don't have to worry. You're going to win every time.
Yeah.
You're going to win every time. It may not be the win that you're looking for, but it will be a win. And in trying him, I found him to be just that.
Wow.
and I've been
Wow.
walking with him ever since.
Thank you. Ray, let me ask you, and again, I got my ESPN Curious hat. I was writing this down as Coach was talking and as Wes was talking, teenagers. So Mary changed the world. She was the mother of Jesus as a teenager. David beat Goliath as a teenager. Joseph was thrown in the pit by his brothers, and then he became second to Pharaoh, starting when he was a teenager in his journey. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego with Daniel really stood up to a foreign government. What's your take on spiritual things, on God and Jesus, if I can ask?
My take on spiritual things is, God is, God leads the way. Like, like, like in anything that you are willing to do, God has to be, he has to be part of that, just so that you can actually be able to succeed in that. Just like how Coach Mac, um, he is succeeding in coaching, right? Just because of his belief in God and basically how much he loves God. Just like Wesley, well, he made it to the NBA just because his belief in God and basically how much he loves God.
Like that one. I
Hmm.
like that one. Thank
Man,
you.
so, yeah. So basically, I do believe in God, and I do love Him and I worship Him.
Wow, that's powerful as a young man. My dad came to the Lord as a hardhead man. He lived right before COVID, 2020. He passed at 82 years old. But for the first 70 years, he raised hell. He raised hell, man. He was an angry black man and grew up in segregation. Played in high school with the great Elgin Bell at Spingarn High School. But he was an angry brother for many years until because my grandmother was a lady of the night. She was a prostitute in Washington, D.C. And so my dad, who was a big guy, and I'm left-handed like my dad. My dad was 6'6". I'm 6'8" with the shoes on. And he said he learned to be angry. He learned to be angry and afraid. And so, but his life turned around at 70 years old. So to hear your encouragement, Ray, is a beautiful thing for Wes, for Coach Mack. I want to say, man, thank you guys. Keep carrying on. Keep carrying on. I want to do a speed round with you guys again and then bring this back a little bit because we still have some good time. Um, Love to ask you guys this one. I want to go with a speed round again. Um, Here we go. Coach Mack, what comes to mind when we say freedom?
God, salvation, and God. I feel free to be Him.
Wes, Jesus.
Oh, Savior.
Wow. Here we go. All right, Ray, family.
Love.
All right, build on that one. Coach, love.
God's greatest commandment that we all should do is love, and it's the best feeling.
Okay. Wes, Bible.
Roadmap.
Powerful, powerful. I like that one. Ray, spiritually sensitive. What comes to mind?
Spiritually sensitive. Hmm. It's like how you feel about God.
Okay. Okay, we'll go with that. One more round. Bringing it on the back end on this one. One more round. Wes, however you say it. Future.
Future. Oh,
Any way you want to go with it.
legacy.
Ray, hope.
I really don't believe in hope because like there's no reason to hope if you are if you're that type of person to go and get it.
Okay. Okay. So you don't believe in hope if you're the person to go get it. Go make your hope is what you're
Yes.
saying. Okay. I'll go with that. Coach Mack, 500 wins, expectation.
But I have to first say 600 wins.
Oh,
I'm
amen.
an old resume.
Annette, Miss Annette, my
Okay.
SID.
With
Uh-oh.
610.
And who's counting?
And the coaching year is a little
Oh,
low
we're
too.
going back to that. Hey, Coach, humility. So you earned that one.
You said it twice. I couldn't take it no more. So I better be safe.
Oh, thanks, Coach. I got to get my
expectation.
yeah.
Expectation.
Yes.
Oh, success. I expect success.
Okay. All right, guys. Right over my head, we're coming down, man. It's the last part of this show, and I'm learning so much. Thank you for allowing us to rock and roll. Over my head, you guys might see this little cross that's on top. You see this cross that's on top. So what happened about 7 years ago is I'm blowing hard in ESPN and traveling and speaking with Fellowship of Christian Athletes and doing a lot of ministry work. The movie Striptease with Demi Moore was out. And when you're in the hotel, they just had a picture of her just sitting there with nothing but her elbow and her leg showing with just hair. And I'm sitting here, and here's a naked woman sitting in front of my view every day as I come back to the hotel. And I'm like, man, you're doing ministry for God. But a lot of our failure and successes come not in the 2 hours that people see, but the 22 hours that they don't see. So you and I succeed or fail, like on the practice field. It's not the game time, but it's on the quiet time. And where I'm going with that, my daughter made that little cross for me. So I travel with that for the last 7 years. Everywhere I go outside of home, it's just a little reminder of who I am and whose I am. And it's so important. So as a leader, my question to you, all of you guys, as we move this along, Wes, as a leader, what's a little reminder? Like mine happens to be this cross. Every time I'm on the road or traveling, ESPN or anything, I got my little cross as a reminder. What's a reminder of you of keeping your train on the tracks?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I mean, well, I always spend quiet time with the Lord. I really don't like to do things without including Him first.
Hmm.
So, uh, as my cousin would say, you want to wake up with the Lord, and you want to go to bed with Him.
I
So
like that. I
I
like
take
that.
that. I take that to the best of my ability throughout my life to wake up with Him and go to bed with Him. You know, um, so to
Mm,
know that I'm covered, that I'm covered, I'm protected, and that whatever come what may throughout the day, um, it really doesn't matter because God's hand is on my life. It's kind of like Coach Mack. I believe you were saying it earlier, and it's something that I'm always saying. And you were saying, you hit the nail on the head earlier. Is that what I'm trying to do? What we're all doing, even you, Ray. Like we're recruiters.
mm,
We're fishermen of men. We're fishers of men.
I
We're
like that.
recruiters. And like it's so interesting how like a bouncing ball has God's name all over it, like, His
Mm,
purpose all over it. You know, Ray, could you imagine if to whoever would be listening to this, like as a player especially, like could you imagine playing for a team where you never lose? Can you
wow.
imagine playing for a team where you never lose? Like so, like what I'm saying, Ray, is the fact that what I believe is that I'm playing for the best team ever because God is the owner of my team. Jesus is my coach, and I'm the player, and I'm going out to recruit players on a regular basis. And no matter how many points you're down, no matter how many times the ref don't blow the whistle, the fans boo, the ball goes out on your foot. At the end of the day, it's guaranteed that you're going to win. You know why? Do you know why, Ray?
Mm,
Because God
Do
is
you know
always on
why?
your side.
Yeah. Because God has rigged the game. It's
yeah.
already been rigged. The game is rigged. There's no way you are going to lose because God has rigged the game. So social media, girls pulling at you. You got a bad grade on the test. You think Coach Mac mad at you? Like all of these different things that can distract you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the illustrations of the crowd booing, the ref not giving you the call, you down by 30. Those are the things that the enemy just wants to keep you distracted because he's a perverter of the mind. And as long as he can keep you distracted, you lose sight of the fact that the game is already rigged. You're gonna win regardless because you're playing for Team Jesus. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Wow. Coach, we're coming down the home stretch. Is there something you want to encourage these young people with, or what? Let us inside of your huddle. What's a typical day or typical conversation like, from physical to spiritual to just being on time? Let us inside the huddle. What would you say to your guys today?
In short, I would say what Sister Boyd said to me that day when I was walking up the street. Make sure you keep God first. I'm writing a book. It's entitled Walking Home. In my playing days, in my youth, I didn't have parental support. And the only way for me to play was to pay my own fees, buy my own shoes, and to get home. And I spent many nights in Ohio by myself after games, walking home in the cold, in the snow, in the rain, with the Eskimo coat and my book bag on. And I walked about 4.5 miles. And I was very lonely out there. I had a lot of things going through my mind. And so when you say, what is it that reminds me constantly of my relationship and my devotion to the Lord, I feel like I'm still walking home. I'm still walking. I never really got off the road. And on that road is where I really got to know God personally, because instead of being angry with my parents and angry with people who didn't come to pick me up or see me play, all that churching that I did, those days that we're going to church, and I learned that things are not going to get better if I get angry, but things could get better if I learn to build a relationship with God. I talked to him. I sung songs. I got a deeper devotion with him, and it made that walk home not so bad and not so long. And so I still remember those days. I still remember walking. I can see it right now, and that helps me to keep on going.
I want to bring this home real quick, and Ray, I'm gonna leave it with you before I close it off. We've got almost like a minute and a half, so you got a pro right here on the conversation. Give us a nugget. What would you want to ask an NBA player? What would you ask a Wes? Best advice. So you've got 10 seconds to ask your question, and Wes, you've got 30 seconds to give him a bullet answer. Is there anything you would want to know from a pro player?
When you was in high school, did you think that you was gonna make it to the NBA?
Huh.
Great question.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good question. I mean, because in your generation, how do I put this? So I tell players all the time that a lot of people say things. They say it with two things. They say it with their mouth, or they say it with their soul. I said I was going to the NBA with my soul, not my lips, because a lot of people do a lot of lip service. You know, you scored on somebody, that make you good. No, it don't. You had 30 the other night, that make you good. No, it don't. So a lot of people do this and don't say it with their soul. It goes back to Coach Mack when he's talking about imagination. Ironically, like how crazy is this? I used to go to the park and visualize 20,000 fans at the playground, booing me, cheering me. I would put Allen Iverson's face in front of me. I would put Penny Hardaway's face in front of me, Michael Jordan's face in front of me. And I would literally be acting like I'm going at these guys, right?
Wow.
And I would go home and watch the VHS tapes, because we ain't had that stuff like y'all have. And I would watch these NBA highlights, and for some reason, I will always stop on Penny Hardaway and be like, I like his game. And I would watch it all the time and be like, ooh, yeah, ooh, nice pass. Ooh, and he got bounced too. Ooh. And I used to watch him all the time. Now, I don't worked out with a lot of NBA teams. I was supposed to get drafted and get drafted. I always had to, hey, man, you're good, man, but we can't fit you. Hey, you're good, but they're not good, bad timing. But out of all the teams that gave me the opportunity, which team did I sign a contract with?
Orlando.
Right? Say it again.
Orlando.
Because that's what I visualized since a kid. Over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
Right? So just remember, some people say it with their mouth while other people say it with their soul. And those are two different things.
We're going to stop it right there. Wow. Fellas, this has been outstanding. Thank you so much for this. Coach Mack, congratulations on 500 plus another 100 right there. Over 100 right there. Congratulations on that. Ray, have an amazing senior year. And of course, Wes, wow, this is fantastic. Guys, we got to do it again. And I want to talk to our BCI in closing. Listen to this, guys. On behalf of BCI, I want to thank Colonial High School players. We just talked about Ray and Coach Mack, and I want to thank Wes Fluellen for being a part of tonight's event. Those of you viewing on the audience, thank you for listening in as well. You can also catch this on the archives on a CSL event. Go to bciedge.org. That's bciedge.org. And be sure to follow BCI on Facebook and Twitter for information for the next CSL event on Tuesday, February 13th from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Guys, well done. God bless you guys, and thanks for your time tonight. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Armand. I got a question for you real quick.
God bless you guys. Good luck, Ray.